lot from Coach Gomes. So I said, okay, I got to take in all these things, and I got to fight this battle. I got to fight this by myself. So I said, okay, what do I have to do, to overcome this situation? Well, I got to surround myself with one thing I know I love for a fact that's going to motivate me, keep me going, which was, seeing that football field. So, I had my dad go tell him, we need to change our room. I need to see that football field. I need to see my teammates practicing every day.
Welcome back to another amazing interview brought to you by Fourth and Long. Today I have the pleasure to spend a little bit of time talking with a remarkable man-person athlete known as Marcus Rios. Marcus, thank you very much for taking some time today and be able to join us.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be here talking with you, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Of course. But what's funny is that, not a lot of people probably know this, but Marcus actually graduated. We went to the same high school. Shout out to Cosumnes Oaks High School. He was just about 5 years before me, so I'm just a little younger. But we play football in the same organization, which is kind of crazy. And then a little about his career, just real quick. He went to Cosumnes Oaks High School, played UCLA. Then he signed with the Broncos for a little bit. And what's crazy about that too, so I'm a diehard Broncos fan.
Nice.
It worked out almost perfectly, especially like you said a little before we started, how you almost went to Boise State, same college as I'm going to. Man, it's kind of
we
wild.
We both got a lot of similarities,
right?
Yep.
And then, but I just want to get things started with a question. I always like to, because a lot of people know about the athlete on the field, but a lot of people don't know what it's like to be off the field, the behind the scenes, especially I want to get to know the person behind the athlete. And so let's bring it back probably 10, 15 plus years by now. But when did you first get your kind of first action of football?
Well, really, I love football since I was a kid. It was something a part of my family and something that I grew up on. As for me realizing that I can play, competitively and, really make a career and future out of it, I probably realized, probably within the sixth grade. Sixth grade, I knew like that was when I really wanted to take football to the next level and pretty much devote my life to football. So ever since then, I've just been working hard nonstop.
Mm-hmm. And what was that junior program that you started off with real quick?
Well, I actually played flag football. I was really I know I'm big now, but back then I was skinny and small. Like my parents wasn't having it. They wasn't letting me play tackle football at all. So I honestly didn't play till about eighth grade. I played with the Franklin Junior Wildcats in eighth grade, and then ninth grade was when I went to Cosumnes Oaks and met Coach Gomes, and he taught me a lot of great stuff, and I was able to reach my full potential under him, along with working out with my family, Brandon Thompson with True Grit Sports and DB Select. I started working out with them in sixth grade, and that's when I knew that I can, take it to the next level.
Oh yeah, shout out to True Grit and DB Select real quick. Two phenomenal programs. Back in California, I know so many football players, so many athletes that have gone through those, and they're doing big things now. Like you, shout out to my boy Jared Green. Great programs on there. Highly recommend them. And then what was the initial hook that like made you know that football is the sport for me? This is something that I want to do. What kind of just really solidified the fact that you were going to be a football player?
Really just, my performance on the field. Every time I stepped on the field, it was, obvious that I was the best on the field. And that's always been my mission since day one, and how I've been raised to every time I step foot on the field, I'm going to be the best on the field. I'm going to outwork everyone. I'm going to be the best, at everything I do. So, once I realized that, and my performance was like, above a lot of other, players on my team and stuff like that. I was performing at a high level at a very young age, and with my family, with my brother Brandon, and my parents, and they were like, you need to take this seriously. You need to work hard, and you keep working hard, you end up going to college for free. Be able to decide where you want to go to school. So that was my initial hook. Going on that football field, making plays nonstop. Playing multiple positions, being real versatile. That's when I knew, okay, I got to stick with this, and I got to see where it takes me.
And that's really good that you're able to recognize that, and like the people around you were able to recognize that from such an early age, because allowed you to really, I guess, focus in on, yeah, let's do football and let's just become the best football player I can be, you know?
Yep. Yes.
And then, so we mentioned Cosumnes Oaks High School. You went to UCLA. Then you had some time with the Broncos, and you most recently spent time with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers up there in the Canadian Football League. So let's talk about high school first. I want to see the differences between each level of play, and then even the differences in the professional level between the
Okay.
NFL and the CFL. So high school, you started off when you graduated. You were the four-star recruit out of high school, and you were the number 21 ranked cornerback in the entire country. And you were,
Yep.
without a doubt, the best player in Cosumnes Oaks history. We can say that for sure. Whether it be athlete, whether it just be raw talent on the football field, you're Cosumnes Oaks pride and joy, and I think we could say that without a doubt. So what was your time there, and how was that different from then when you went to UCLA?
Okay. Well, as crazy as it sounds, it really wasn't too much of a difference for me. And the reason why I say that is I was well prepared.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, before I got to high school, I was working with, Brandon Thompson. So they already, with DB Select and True Grit Sports, they already prepared me, for at a high school level. When, I was still in middle school, I was already prepared for high school. And then when I really got to high school, when I met Coach Gomes, Coach Gomes he ran our program just like a college program. He held us accountable, everything from on and off the field, the practices, the study habits, the way we weight trained, the way we did everything, was exact same as college. And I knew that was his goal, and which is why I chose to go to Cosumnes Oaks, because I went to it was like the pre-meetings, this where you meet the coaches before, because it was a brand new school, so we got to meet all the coaches. I actually got to go there, and I remember him saying that, and just him, one thing that stood out to me was him quoting John Wood, and I was like, okay, this guy is different. This is who I definitely want to play for. It's not too often you find, high school coaches at this type of level who really wants to see his players succeed. So, like I said, Coach Gomes, he had all of us prepared. I mean? Honestly, that's why I was able to excel so fast and play as a true freshman when I got to UCLA, because, everything was the same. It was no drop off. And, he was hard on us, and, it's that same way in college. So I just took what I learned from Coach Gomes, from the study habits to the, being able to talk and communicate with my teammates, with my coaches, being a man, being responsible, making good choices. I learned a lot from Coach Gomes, on and off the field. And I was able to take that at UCLA, and that's why I didn't skip a beat. I actually graduated Cosumnes Oaks early and enrolled early at UCLA, because that's how far advanced I was. I was ready to go, and I was well prepared. And, I give it all to Coach Gomes, because he really, made my transition nice and smooth and easy. And like I said, so as crazy as it sounds, there was no drop off. It was, it was pretty simple for me, outside of, learning the new plays and, taking all these classes now and studying for finals and, being on my own. That was probably the most challenging part. But as for the football part, like it was no drop off. Coach Gomes is a man, and he had me prepared, really well.
Oh yeah, I mean, while we're talking about the man, we both have a great relationship with Coach Gomes. He shout out to Ryan Gomes. We both play under, or I was able to play under him, varsity in high school, but we both have been around his coaching. I was able to play under him at the local junior college, American River, once I went there. And Coach Gomes, he ran the tight ship, but he really did, I guess, care about the athletes, and he took everything seriously, whether it be on the field. When we had those, was it Tuesday and Thursday night study sessions after practice? Man, when those kind of sucked, because you're all sweaty and tired, but still have to do some homework and stuff like that. But he really did prepare us to be, I mean, better athletes, better men, and prepare us for the future. And that's a good head coach like that, especially at the high school level, does so much for your future, as we see perfect example right here with you.
Exactly. I always say, Coach Gomes is my second dad. He was very part of my, recruiting process. And
Mm-hmm.
ever since I stepped foot on there, he treated me, like his own son.
Man,
So
talk
we
about
have a
his
great,
recruiting process. I was in his classroom as a freshman at Cosumnes Oaks.
yeah.
We learned that we did a little learning in his geology class or geography class, but I swear every day, especially during football season, there's a different college coach in there. There's a
Exactly.
different
That's how
football
hard.
player.
Exactly. That's how hard this guy works. Like, I'm literally like, he literally he made sure
Everyone.
every college knew about me. And this was my freshman year before I even knew, like, I knew I had potential,
Uh-huh.
but like my freshman year, I was just thinking about honestly just getting the offer from Sac State,
Yeah.
but he had coaches, since freshman year,
The
D1,
big.
UCLA, USC's, Nebraska's, Oregon's. He's telling them about me, telling them, oh no, we have one special. And then,
Mhm.
3 years later, they're all coming back in.
Right.
So,
That
he's been
man's crazy.
grinding hard for all his athletes since day one.
Marketing genius when it comes to get
Exactly.
his athletes out. And that might
Exactly.
have been one of the better parts of him because not only was he able to kind of grow you like in the way
Yeah.
that he did, but he's able to market the hell out of you too. so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I mean, to wrap it up, man. Shout out to Coach Gomes. You're the man, pretty much, right?
Yeah, he knew how good I was gonna be before I even knew how good I was gonna be. So
He's
yeah.
crazy.
So and then, shout out to Coach Jones, man.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about UCLA. You said, like we said, you graduated early. We were able to join
Yep.
that spring roster. True freshman, you're able to see action that season and every
Yep.
other season regarding that. But then in the middle of your stint there, you did have a battle with, which pretty much it's a rare disease, but when someone does get it, it's almost to put it to kind of put it harshly, it's almost a death sentence in a way.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
not for you, man. Would you mind talking us through your battle with that and just kind of take us through? What was going through your head at that time?
Yeah. So like you said, I came in as a true freshman. I'm strong. I'm healthy. I'm getting playing time. So really set myself up for a
Yeah.
strong, a sophomore campaign year. And all of a sudden, things start happening. I start getting really bad migraines. I'm not able to sleep. I'm not able to eat. And on top of all this stuff, I'm still going to practice. So it's literally like I'm fighting out there for my life, So
Yeah.
it was tough, going to class.
Mm-hmm.
I was struggling there, and just going to practice and trying to do what I can, and all of a sudden it just got worse and worse and worse and worse day by day, day by day. So initially I went to go to the doctors. And this is prior to, during this time I already had around about 3 to 4 surgeries. And initially the doctors were just, because I had bad sinus problems as well.
Yeah.
So initially they thought it was just sinus infection. So I had 3 surgeries for that. And but still nothing was getting better. So, day by day I'm struggling at this point, because it's like, okay, I had 3 surgeries. The doctor's telling me I'm healthy, I'm good to go, and I'm still not able to sleep. I'm not able to eat. I'm not having low energy, no appetite, no anything. It's literally like it was a struggle for me to just go to class. I felt like a walking zombie out there, just lifeless. And for me to, I still never gave up though. I was still going to practice daily, and I still had that smile on my face, even though I was in a lot of pain. But all of a sudden, the turning point in which I knew it was really serious was one day I was in class. This is, like I said, I had 3 or 4 prior surgeries. I forget I had so many, but
Jeez,
I was in class one day, and all of a sudden my eyesight just is gone. This goes blank, can't see anymore. So that's when I knew, okay, like something's up. So then I, get rushed to the hospital, have emergency surgery right on the spot, and then I don't even really remember. I just remember waking up and hearing my parents' voice. I don't even remember how they got there or anything. And then that's when I heard, I still couldn't really see, but I heard in the background doctors telling me, he's I don't know how we missed this, but he has this life-threatening disease called aspergillus, and it was eating away my left orbit of my left eye and the base of my brain. which was explaining why my vision went gone, because it was just eating away pretty much that, along with the base of my brain as
That's
well, which was
crazy.
causing them migraines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was, really, really scary situation, man. And I remember them telling me, they didn't know what was hard for them. They didn't know how to treat it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you did the history about this, but I had doctors from all over come over, from
Yeah.
Italy, Europe, everywhere,
Saw that.
all around the country, and they were telling me, exactly like, well, your case is really rare because it was only about a dozen people that had this, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
that had it, for the invasive fungal infection that I had,
Mm-hmm.
they were all low immune systems. They were about, older,
And they weren't
cancer
super
patients. So
healthy like you.
exactly. So for me to be this strong and healthy, to contact, get this disease
Mm-hmm.
was, just, mind blowing to them. So it was, they didn't know, and they didn't know how to treat me or anything. And then that's when I was faced with two ultimatums. So, the doctors were saying, look, we have two options. It's either we're gonna, cut out his eye. You know what I mean? They were, because that was the only way they knew for a fact they could get to the infection, because I wasn't responding to no medications well. So they were saying we're either gonna do that, or or I'm just gonna, just try to tough it out. But they were saying, me, I knew, like, okay, if they gotta cut my eye out, this and that, like, football's over for life. Like there's no coming back. I won't be able to play again, this and that. So we had discussions with the doctors and stuff like that. They're telling us the precautions, how serious this is. And at this point, I can't even talk. I barely can sit up. I'm not eating. It's pretty much like I'm dead, honestly.
Well, when you're going through this, you're kind of withering. You lost 50 pounds over your whole
Yeah.
battle with this, which is an insane amount of weight, especially when you, at your biggest, are only about like 190, 200.
Exactly, yeah. So, because initially, before I got sick, I was around like 185, 190, and I went all the way down to about like 115, 120. So, yeah, so it was bad. So, pretty much, I knew, like, finish the story. They were like, okay, well, we'll wait and see if he responds to medications well. If I don't, then pretty much they're going to have to chop my eye out. Long story short, by the grace of God, and, all praise to God, I started responding to medications well. And, I ended up getting better, regained my eyesight, and slowly was able to, start walking again, start eating again and stuff like that. So it was a scary situation, but, one thing that taught me was, just keep my faith. And, no matter how hard things get, just keep your head down and always, claim victory. You know what I mean? Not once did I ever think I was going to die. Not once in there I never thought I wasn't going to be back on the football field again. And, that's how my mindset is. And that's how regardless whether it's football or not, I'm always going to be great at life, because, I think that way and I have that mentality.
You're easily one of the strongest willed people I've ever had the pleasure to talk to, because not many people could be around this life-threatening disease where 12 people in the world have had it, and no one like you in the history of recorded history of medical science has ever been in this good shape but had this bad of a disease. But every day you're just fighting, not giving up. You're, like you said, you're blind, you're withering away, you're pretty much in the state of, you're kind of just dying, but you still battle back. You still even you never doubt yourself. And then you even requested, when you're in the, it's very convenient to have the hospital at UCLA. But you requested to have your room moved to where you could oversee the practice fields, right? And so
exactly, because I knew for a fact, because I'm like, okay, I'm a type, I learned a lot, like I said, from, my brother, Brandon Thompson. I learned a lot from my parents. I learned a lot from Coach Gomes. So I said, okay, I got to take in all these things, and I got to fight this battle. I got to fight this by myself. So I said, okay, what do I have to do, to overcome the situation? Well, I got to surround myself with the one thing I know I love for a fact that's going to motivate me, keep me going, which was, seeing that football field. So, I had my dad go tell him, we need to change that room. I need to see that football field. I need to see my teammates practicing every day, because, that was the only thing making me through. You know what I mean? The little energy I had, my teammates, they would practice at, I think we started like around 5:30 a.m. So I used every day. Couldn't walk, I couldn't eat or nothing, but I always found enough strength sit by the window, and I'm out there watching I'm waking up when they wake up. As soon as they start, I watch the whole practice from start to finish and I don't even know how I was able to do that, but I watched that, and that was, that thing, being able to do that, allowed me to, just overcome this, because I really visualized myself getting better, and I wasn't listening to doctors. I wasn't listening to no one. I knew for a fact that I'll be out there, but in order for me to be out there, I need to see it every single day, because I knew this was going to be a hard battle that I was going to, have to conquer and win.
Amen. God and football, two of the best things to ever happen to any one of us, right?
Definitely.
Definitely put
man.
all the faith in that, but that's amazing. You put, it's almost like in the way kind of dangling like a carrot in front of a pig. You see that motivation, you see that right outside your window,
and
you just gotta keep chasing that, And that was
Yep, I had to.
And it's not really an exaggeration to say you're kind of a walking miracle to be able to get through this battle. But at the same time, it's just a bigger testament to the man you are and to the athlete you are and the person you are.
Yeah, definitely. That's why, I go around and I'm working with youth athletes, and I've always been, always been a player and someone, being able to give back and teach these kids, like, it doesn't matter what you go through. I mean, if you attack it how you do on the football field, and that's why I preach football is just like life. Football, you're going to face adversity. You're going to have bad plays. You may have a bad half, but if, it's all about how you respond. You got to keep your composure. You got to continue working hard. And, in life, you're going to have setbacks, but that setbacks, it's going to set you up for a major comeback. And that's what I, inspire, what I preach to the youth, that doesn't matter what you go through, man, you'll make it out. You'll make it out on top.
Love that. I mean, adversity just builds character, it builds strength, and ultimately it makes you a better person. Although in your case, you did face some extra adversity, I think we could say, than what most people would be facing. But
yeah.
Hey, you made it through in the end, and that's all that matters, right? And then,
exactly.
So what was it like? Your first day back after your battle with this disease, your first day back in the practice facilities with the team. Walk us through that, because I'm sure it had to be one of the most amazing feelings ever.
It was amazing, but it was also tough for me, because you know how competitive I am. Like the first day out the hospital, because I still had the PICC line in my arm. I'm still taking medicine, IV, so I still wasn't clear to practice. I'm over here trying to practice. I'm getting kicked out of practice because I want to practice. Like I'm almost fighting with coaches. Like that's how competitive I am. I'm about to re-injure myself trying to go in there and bench press 500 pounds. Like I'm really out there thinking like nothing happened to me. So it took me a while to realize, like, listen, Marcus, you got to slow it down. Like you've been in the hospital for about almost close to, a year doing no activity. You got to slow it down. So that was the most challenging part to me. But, stepping out of that hospital, just breathing that fresh air and knowing, I beat that disease. It was an amazing feeling. But like I said, like the hardest part was just, taking my time. You can ask anybody. You can ask anyone. I'm in the weight room. I'm on the field all day, 24/7. So it's like, for me to not be able to do that, that was that honestly took me, hurt me more than an actual disease. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I'm weird like that, man.
So only you, man.
I'm just exactly.
Only you will get the day one out of the hospital. Probably still I guess in your hospital gown. Wanted to go throw on the shoulder pads, throw on the helmet. Let's go live, coach. I'm ready.
Exactly. I don't know what I was thinking, but man, that's what I was thinking.
I and literally almost pretty much everyone in the world will never come close to the battle that you had in terms of what exactly you faced with that disease. But I think we've all had smaller stuff where it's like I guess using injuries is an example. We've all had those things where like we really want to come back, but it might be in the best interest to not to, but at the same time I really want to play football. So it's almost like, football is weird because we kind of put football, we prioritize, our prioritization when it comes to football is weird. We put wanting to be on the field over like our actual health. Which is
exactly
kind of weird, but
that's why I said like
just built different,
exactly,
right?
And that's why I said like football. Exactly. Football is life, though. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta be patient sometimes, and you may have that setback. And like when that window opens up,
Mm-hmm.
just get back to it.
Yeah, man. And then you graduated, you finished off your career with UCLA. You weren't
Yeah.
invited to the combine, but you're able to have one hell of a pro day. 4.45, 40. Yeah, it was 18 reps on the bench press, which is pretty
Yeah.
solid for a defensive back too. Yeah,
Yeah.
some great numbers. Your comeback after that after your disease was phenomenal. But you go ahead, don't get drafted in 2017, but then the Broncos, I'm sure among other teams, call you up. You ultimately signed a
Yeah.
3-year, $1.66 million deal with them, and then you
Hmm.
go in preseason, in which was awesome. I was able to when you guys were in San Francisco. I was actually able
Yeah.
to be there for that game to see you there.
Okay.
So and then I remember
Nice.
you're on the punt coverage or in a punt return. I believe you had
Yeah.
a tackler or two, in that preseason game, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Yep. And then man, that was crazy to see. I mean, to see a guy I've known since high school, or kind of
Yeah.
looked up to in a way because he was just this amazing athlete from the same school, and to see him playing with the same
Yeah.
guys, suited up with the same guys, like see you right next to Damaris Thomas, you see you next to Chris Harrison, Aqib Talib,
Yeah.
Von Miller right there.
Yep. Yep.
What was it like being on that Broncos team for you were there from 20 you signed you were part of the final cuts, but you were put onto the practice squad, and then you were there till about 2018, 2019. And so can you tell us about your time with the Denver Broncos organization?
It was great. It was great. I knew, due to my, health reasons in college, I knew, I was going to definitely be an underdog, and I knew it was something, I was going to have to, train the hardest of my life. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, to make this team. So, and that's exactly what I did. I came in and they were just, they gave me the opportunity along with a couple more other teams, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew the Broncos would, fit me best for my playing style
What
and the
set
type of
the
defense they run.
so with between the play style and defense there with Wade Phillips was still the defensive coordinator at that time, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was still there. He runs
So
a
it
nice
was,
3-4 defense, and
exactly.
heavy reliance on defensive backs with a great pass rush in front of you, because they were still close to coming off that Super Bowl team, and that defense was still pretty stacked. But for you to go in there and compete with them and to be able to play
Yeah.
like you did, what was that challenge like as well?
It was good. Like I said, things always end up working out best for me. But the system, the defense they ran was
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, man to man. They love man to man
Yep.
defense, and he really wants to put pressures on those receivers. So it worked out for me well. My specialty is playing man. And since day one, like I said, I was so prepared throughout high school and college. When I got there,
Mm-hmm.
I was honestly outperforming the draft pick since day one, and that's how I honestly made the roster. Out of 3 practices, it
Mm-hmm.
was it was obvious that okay, we need him on our team for sure. I was able
Hell
to
yeah,
play
man.
nickel, I was able to play safety,
Mm-hmm.
corner. I was able to know it all, and a lot of the plays that we ran there was very similar to UCLA. So when a lot of other defensive backs were struggling, I knew it all. And being able to play 3 positions as a rookie coming in
Mm-hmm.
during training camp, the first 2 weeks, being able to manage all that, I knew for a fact, I was going to make this team. But I also knew I had to work hard and do all of those things to make that team. Because one thing, there's no room for mistakes. I've
No.
seen guys, we're in training camp, guys mess up twice, next day, they're gone. So it's literally like,
Mm-hmm.
or you walk on the field, or you don't know when coach calls you on a meeting and you don't know a play.
Mm-hmm.
It could be your last day. So,
Right.
you just really got to stay on it. But, the process it was challenging, but really not challenging at all for me because I
Of
only
course. Why
attack
would
things
it
with
be?
one way. And
Why would it be, man? You're
yeah,
Marcus Rios.
exactly. I only attack things one way with, and I'm going all out, full effort. I'm studying every night. I'm asking questions with the coach. I'm doing all special teams plays. I'm showing up in shape. So I'm running all over the field. I'm beating everyone in the drills, all of that. You know what I mean? So, that's something I was always taught,
Mm-hmm.
at a very young age. When, like I said earlier, when you step out on the field, you be the best regardless, who's out there. And it was obvious, that I deserved the spot on that team.
Yeah, hell yeah. Of course you did. But so unfortunately, you were a part of the final roster cuts going to the week 1 of the season, but then I'm guessing they brought you in. Of course, I
Yeah.
wasn't there, so you could walk us through it. But they bring you in, they kind of give you the news, but then do they offer you that practice squad roster or spot right there, or
Yeah,
does it?
exactly. So the way football works is pretty much you have the veterans and you have the rookie draft picks. So
Mm-hmm.
really only probably around one undrafted rookie will actually make the roster. But really
Mm-hmm.
it's a numbers game. It was just simply wasn't the coach walked in. Coach Vance Joseph walked me in there and said, simply, it's just no room for you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we want you a part of this team. So we want to bring you back to the practice squad, and we want you to continue working hard, and you will get your opportunity eventually, and that's what I did. So I
And you
signed to the
did on
practice squad.
in December. You got put up to
Exactly.
the you were moved up to the active roster. You saw
Yep.
time, and then so what was it like your first? I mean, preseason. I'm sure is something that's a lot
Yeah.
of. I mean, it must be a crazy experience. Still preseason or not, it's still an NFL game. But what was it like
Yeah.
being able to suit up, get ready, run out onto the field for your first, I guess, regular season NFL game?
Yeah. My first game was amazing. It was actually a away game. We were playing Miami, so we were in the Hard Rock Stadium, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really fun. I mean, all my family came out there, support me and stuff like that. But it was really fun. And unfortunately we lost that game, but I had a very good game, and that's what each game I got better and better and
Mm-hmm.
better, and just continue to build off of it. But it was a great experience, but it was something that I expected. So it wasn't like I said, I'm hard headed. So it was something I knew for a fact. Like I'm going to end up getting activated to the roster soon. It's just a matter of time. So I
Right.
was something I already expected, and I just went in there and did my thing and kept performing really well.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, you go finish. Then 2018, you were having some injury issues. They move you
Yeah.
to was it your hamstring?
No,
Along with
yeah, it
the
was actually a hip injury.
hip.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
leg and age, is somewhat close.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But then you're put onto the injured reserve, and then after that, you kind of was it you finished out your contract, or did they end up just cutting you after your stint on the injured reserve?
Yeah, so I ended up finishing off my contract,
Mm-hmm.
but I was pretty much just on injured reserve. So
Yeah.
then I got just released, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was, fighting for my next opportunity
Yeah. And
after that.
that next opportunity took you up north of the border to the Canadian Football
Yeah,
League, where you were able to sign a. Most recently, you played with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and
yeah,
what was that like? What was it like making the switch from NFL to the CFL? Was there one? Because I know there's different rules.
yeah,
Bigger field,
yeah.
the
Uh,
wide receivers get a running head start, which is a little weird, but
it's
So, so what's it like adapting? I'm sure, knowing you, probably nothing new, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but what was it like?
Well, like I said, nothing new for me because my brother Brandon Thompson, he played in the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
So before I went there to go train, I went down there and trained with him, so I knew exactly what to expect, especially with the receivers covering the receivers. Now that's very difficult compared to the NFL when the receivers have a running head start after your technique has to be on point, and there's
Mm-hmm.
no really room for error. You mess up once, it's touchdown. So your technique has to be very on point. But that's playing in the CFL this past year made me a whole lot better covering, like a lot better. I'm a lot better cover guy just for the fact I had to really focus on my technique and perfect my craft that way. But yeah, my brother Brandon really showed me. He got me prepared. So when I
Mm-hmm.
went up there, like I said, 3 days into practice, it was already obvious that I had to make the team, and it's even harder to make the team there because there's only can be half the roster has to be Canadian.
Mm.
So with all the other positions, it's only really 2-3 American DBs that are really going to make the team.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of them will make the practice squad, and there's only 8 spots in the practice squad. So really, it's very challenging to make the CFL team. It was honestly harder than the NFL due to the fact you have that Canadian to
Mm-hmm.
American ratio. So
Now,
a
not
lot
a
of
lot of
people
people know
think,
that rule. A lot of people think,
yeah, they don't know that rule.
yeah.
So it's like you have guys like me who are really talented, just needed another opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
showcase their skills, who came from the NFL. So it's you're fighting. I'm fighting with a lot of guys just like me.
Mm-hmm.
It's 20 DBs in camp, and only 3 of us are going to make it. So it's like it
It's
was
that numbers game
actually
again,
only two
right?
of us made it.
Damn.
Exactly, only 2 of us made it. It was me and then another DB. So it
Mm-hmm.
was extremely hard. But when you're well prepared and when you're a dominant performer and you really know how to make plays on the field, you'll really set yourself up nice, and that's exactly what I did.
Oh yeah. And now one of the things that I want to talk about, so like kind of going back to the kind of player you're, kind of like this fringe roster player when you were spending your time with the Denver Broncos, and so most recently the
Yeah,
NFL and the NFLPA just agreed on to outright cancel the preseason. We already knew that there wasn't going to be a Hall of Fame game, there wasn't going to be Week 1 and Week 4 of the preseason, but now they just canceled the last two. And
yeah,
there hasn't really been a word. They're still kind of going through official discussions with the coaches and GMs and owners of the league of roster sizes, whether they're going to expand them, or practice squad sizes, if there's going to be any changes to those. But what does this cancellation of the preseason do to players who were in similar situations like you, when you guys like you kind of really need those preseason games
yeah,
it's
yeah,
almost like extra practice almost. You just need that extra
yeah,
time to not only show the coaches of the current team you're on what you can do, but in case they cut you, to have enough film to show all other the 31 teams in the league. So what
yeah.
is it going to be like without these preseason games?
It's going to be challenging. Like I said, one thing that I learned that was valuable in the NFL is film and
Mm-hmm.
availability. And after I had got injured, it was about 3 months. I was getting calls from a lot of NFL teams, but because I wasn't 100% healthy yet and healed,
Mm-hmm.
all those opportunities went gone. And right when I got healthy, the calls start coming in.
Yeah.
So that's one thing is, and then when you're out for that long, and you don't have no film, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for NFL teams to judge you, and that's why I chose to go to the CFL. I got film now. I'm receiving NFL interest now, so I'm back. I'm back to my rookie stage now. I'm getting calls. I'm getting interest. I want a lot of
The
workout
comeback's
visits, so I'll be
happening.
doing workouts.
Right. Comeback's
Exactly,
happening.
yeah. But one thing I learned is film and availability. And
Mm-hmm.
now that they're doing the cuts off preseason, these guys aren't going to have film,
Mm-hmm. Well,
in
about
the game,
availability,
and they don't want.
how's the saying go? The best ability is availability. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just the film is the major part, and now
Mm-hmm.
that the preseasons are gone, and coaches don't really look off practice film. They want to see you in competition, how you
Mm-hmm.
play, how you do on special teams, how you do on defense or offense and stuff like that. So that's going to be very challenging also. But I have a feeling they're at least going to expand the practice rosters if they're going to do that, considering the fact that they're even cutting the rosters down to 80 instead of 90 now. So now
Mm-hmm.
you may even have a couple veteran players, getting cut. So I imagine
Mm-hmm.
they have some type of plan to increase the practice rosters. But now, like young guys like me, or even me now,
Mm-hmm.
when I have my next opportunity, you honestly have to dominate in practice. Like you got to play practice like it's a game, and it has to be obvious, within your first 2 practices that you belong on that team, because you don't have games or weeks no more to showcase it. It was when I was a rookie, I had a month and a half to prove myself.
Mm-hmm.
We had OTAs to learn all the plays. Rookies can't do that. Now they're coming into camp, already expecting to know the plays. So I think, due to that, it's going to be also a high demand for, veteran players like me who can come in and, don't have to worry about learning a new system and
Yep.
stuff like that. So that also gives me an edge. And that's why, I'm training hard every day, because I know I'll get my opportunity
Mm-hmm.
soon. You know what I
Now,
mean? So when
mm-hmm.
I do get the opportunity, I'll be ready.
Yeah, we know you're training hard every day if we follow your Instagram, which is
Yeah.
where can I plug you at real quick?
Marcus Rios official.
There we go. That's Instagram. We see him every day
Yep.
putting out these crazy workout
Yep.
videos. You see these cone drills. You see all these other sorts of drills. Half the time, he's showing off
Yep.
his abs and his arms, really flexing on the rest of us here. But
I got to.
but man, you show up. But everyone follow him because to see not only because you also promote these amazing drills. You're a great coach out there as well as just being a
Yeah.
player. And but I love what you said about it's hard, especially the OTAs is a big thing, and then half the time these the education that's been going has been over like what we're doing right here, little Zoom calls.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's so different because you're getting the same information, but it's so different being in the meeting than watching a video,
yeah.
and being in the meeting is a video, and so
Oh,
it's
oh yeah. It's a big difference. And like I said, like learning those plays, because like another thing is, we go to the NFL, they'll give you a 15 play install,
mhm,
an hour before practice, and you got to learn it, like that, and be
right.
expected to go out there. So like, OTAs, they give you a little leeway to make those little mistakes, stuff like that. But now, like, since we're going straight
Mhm.
into training camp and it's shortened, there's literally no room for error. So you
Now,
just got to be on it.
the NFL wasn't cutthroat already this season. Knock on wood that we're going to have one, which we should be. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to be even more cutthroat. So, I mean, best of luck to all people that were in your position, or you currently as well, and anyone else
Appreciate
like
it.
there, because it's just going to be even harder. But also at the same time, why I love following the Broncos. Maybe not for how you guys did that year, because it was
Yeah.
not to be harsh, but it's a little disappointing, especially coming off that Super Bowl high.
Yeah,
But that whole season, I just kind
definitely.
of spent most of my time trying to follow players like you, or every preseason. It's always fun to find those few guys on, whether it be on your favorite team or just around the NFL. These kind of fringe roster
Yeah.
players that it's always fun to root for an underdog, and you've been a underdog for a little bit now, and then to see
Yeah.
people like you succeed, it's always one of the cooler feelings. That's why, like, if we want to talk about the
Appreciate
NCAA tournament, it's always so much fun to
it.
root for
Yeah.
that underdog team, you know.
Definitely appreciate it. Yeah.
Of course. And then so going back to what you were talking about with football, teaching all these life lessons and perseverances, and kind of the dealing with adversity, what are your favorite memories or life lessons that football's taught you? Because I know for a fact that I almost everything I do in my daily kind of routine, I learned from football, and like whether it be the mental
Yeah.
or physical aspect. And so, what are some of those that kind of impact you daily, or things that you still like to recall?
Really, my philosophy on the game of football is really two things. And that's, you can never give up, and, integrity. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Integrity plays a lot of, key role in football and your success, doing the right thing when no one's looking, being able to, work hard when no one congratulates you, no one's congratulating you and stuff like that, being able to, you mess up on a drill, mess up on a play, discipline yourself and stuff like that. That's how I was raised. Once again, shout out to Brandon Thompson, and, just,
Yeah.
never give up, and integrity. And you take those things, and, you have responsibility for, your success. And, the only person that's in charge of your success is, you. So it depends, if you want to be successful, it comes down to your maturity to put the work in every single day. And that's one thing I'm thankful that I learned since a kid. And, really that's my biggest takeaway from football. And
Yeah.
I take those things on with life. And, now I actually got my own business now, my
Mm-hmm.
online training company, Undefeated Sports. So, due to COVID-19, a lot of kids aren't able to get the training that they want. Now that I developed an online training program, they can get trained the pro way, at an early age as I did, and, not miss a beat. So when they, get back to their games and practicing and stuff like that, they'll be on point, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll be, ready to perform at a high level.
Yep, and then like your new company, the Undefeated, it's a phenomenal one you got going on right there. Everyone, what the undefeated.com. To even get this interview scheduled in the lead up, I was speaking with people a part of that company.
Yeah.
Very easy
Yep.
process,
Yep.
man. Love them all.
Yeah.
And then everyone should go check that out, because Marcus, you have something special going right there. Whether it just be your Instagram, Marcus Rios Official, or the Undefeated, everyone needs to go check that out, because what you're doing, especially with how we're kind of adapting in this, I guess, new normal, if you want to call it that, and how we're kind of making things
Yeah.
work. Online is a huge thing, so if we could have those online workouts, and
Yep.
they look insane and they look challenging as hell. But to be able to
Yep.
do your workouts and make some athletes like that, that's a special thing you got
Exactly.
going. And so,
Exactly. And that's what I, tell these athletes. It's like, if you want to make it at a high level, so all athletes listening right now, if you aspire to, be that starter on your high school football team, or get to Division I level and get those offers and make it to the pros. You have to start training now at a high level. I was thankful enough. I had my brothers like Brandon Thompson and True Grit and DB Select. So I was training like a pro since sixth grade. That's why my transition, was smooth and easy. I had literally zero problems at all. Like I never struggled at all in a day, day in football. And that's been my mission, virtually being able to coach these kids so they can train at that high level and have that same success as I did. And, I can help them, mentor them, and, cheer them on along the way. So once again, it's undefeatedsports.co. Feel free to check it out. You can also follow me on Instagram at Marcus Rios Official.
Hell yeah, let's get those plugs in, everyone. Just go check that out, please. And then just with all this being said, what is next for Marcus Rios? I know we kind of covered that you're getting some more interest back from the NFL. You have this big old company going and stuff like that. But what's next on the plate for you? What's a little down the road that we can all look forward to you doing?
Right now, I'm working on my business, so I have that going for me. And next is, I'm training for that next NFL opportunity. I'm getting interest, I'm getting calls. I'm on workout lists. So, other than that, I'll never stop, whether I see success, in 2 months, a year from now, 2 years from now. One thing about me, I'm consistent and I'll never stop. And, I'm always going to grind, so no one has to motivate me. I know that, if I continue to work hard, I will see the success that I want to see. So, I'm grinding every day and, I'm helping kids every day. So I'm double timing it right now. But, I wouldn't rather have it no other way. I love diversity. I love taking the hard route because, the success is so much sweeter. And I'm really built for this, and that's what I tell athletes, you got to be built for this lifestyle. Everything's, when it's going good, you make good plays, everyone loves you. But, when you give up that touchdown or you drop the interception or you have one bad play, everyone hates you and they forget all the good things. So, in this lifestyle, being an athlete, especially, being a D1 or a pro athlete, you got to be built for this lifestyle. Things aren't going to go your way, but when they don't, you can't mope, you can't sit around, you can't get discouraged, you can't get depressed. You got to face it up, you got to stand, on all 10 and you got to fight. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not skipping up. I'm not skipping a beat. I'm working hard daily and I'll never stop.
Exactly. I mean, we all know, like what you said, everyone loves you or hates you. Who better to know about that than offensive linemen? Whether we get no praise when we do our job, or they would just get yelled at when we don't do our job for one time. And then
Exactly.
Mentality. I mean, one of my favorite sayings I've heard multiple coaches say is that the next play is your best play. And you never want to really. I mean, it's nice to, if you make a good play, it's cool to celebrate real quick. Dap up with your teammates, have kind of be in the moment, but then you gotta transition to the next thing. You can't, and especially if it's a bad play. Of course, you gotta understand what happened in that play. You gotta learn from it. You gotta understand what you did wrong, so you don't make that same mistake. But at the same time, you can't let that linger on you. You just got to move right into the next task at hand and just continue to fight, continue to grind. And of course, you know all about those things.
Exactly, and that's what I tell these kids. If you want to be successful, it's a journey. You got to be consistent and put the work in every day. It's not going to come overnight. You may not see results, a week or maybe a month from now. When it gets tough, it only means you're gonna reach that breakthrough at some point. So if you just keep going, you'll be all right.
And I would love to end on that. And Marcus, just real quick, once you're done with your NFL career, which hopefully won't be for a while, how about you become a motivational speaker? Because I'd be one of the first people to buy a ticket.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that motivational speaking thing, and I'm gonna be the best trainer in California. So all you guys, all young athletes out there, is whenever I'm done playing football, I'm gonna get all y'all right. We all gonna have the offers, and we all gonna make it pro.
Hell yeah, man. Real quick, once again, just to end this, shout everyone at Marcus Rios Official on Instagram, theundefeated.co. Shout out to True Grit and DB Select as well. And shout out to your brother, Brandon Thompson. And shout out to our coach, your father figure, our mentors, Coach Gomes.
Yes.
Because without the people in our lives, without the people you surround yourself with, without the ones that really kind of guide you, it's hard. It's hard to I guess, reach your full potential without a
Yeah,
great base around you.
exactly. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thankful for all those guys, and that's why I want to be that mentor to a lot of kids, because I'll be the first to say, I was driven, I was talented, but I would not be here if it wasn't for all those people helping me in my life. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give back and I'm trying to give back exactly what I had. But shout out to all those guys, Coach Jones, Brandon Thompson, DB Select, True Grit Sports, all of them, because I would not be here right now if it wasn't for them. So all thanks to them.
And then Marcus, I just want to say once again, thank you very much for taking some time every day. I'm sure you're probably just going to go work out as soon as this is done, or unless you have some more business to attend to with your probably
Exactly.
working out 6 hours a day here, and and then just being the beast you are. So thank you for your time. It was great to be able to have this amazing interview with you, talk about all these amazing life lessons and stories, and one of the craziest battles that anyone could ever go through, and be able to come back to the gridiron. And of course, there's a great documentary on it as well. The Monster Within by the Pac-12 Network did a great job. Everyone need to go check that out too. Hopefully, Marcus, you probably don't get royalties from that. That's NCAA stuff. Maybe we don't got to delve into.
If it was a year later, these athletes getting paid now. I would have got a little change from that.
Come on, why couldn't you wait a year? But the NCAA, that's a whole different subject. That'd probably take another couple hours, but of course, you're busy.
Oh yeah, I know exactly. But yeah, bro, I appreciate you for having me on here. Thank you. I wish you nothing but the best. I know you're going to be successful. I see you doing your thing, man. So keep going, man. Keep attacking this podcast, and I already know. We the Wolfpack family. You're my brother, so I know. Me and you, we always going to be successful, bro. So I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you taking the time, talking to me, bro. And just, keep going strong like you announced.